Hi, my name is Francine and I have ovarian cancer. We don't know how long I have, so my job right now is to make every day count. Hi, everybody. Hope you're doing well. So today I wanted to dust off an old video that I did. Boy, I barely had any hair when I did it. And it was about what cancer patients need as far as gifts. But I want to add what they don't need and what not to say, and just help you navigate the newly diagnosed or maybe recurrence. We all have someone in our life that eventually we will need to support. We will want to support, I should say. So, one thing that people often say when they first get the news is, what can I do to help? I mean, we all want to help, but sometimes the patient doesn't even know what they need yet. So the other thing is that people will often say, no, I'm fine, when they're really not. So you're going to have to consider saying, hey, I'm really sorry, I'd like to do this or that, which one would be, helpful to you. So giving them a multiple choice might be a better idea. But you don't even know what to offer until you see the rest of this video. And by the way, if you want to hear about what's going on with me this week, stick around to the end. All right? And then I'll probably ask you to drop an emoji or something. Anyway, this is what we're here for, to support people that we love. Maybe people we don't even love. But everyone needs a little help. So one of the biggest areas that most people could use help with is their finances. And maybe you can help them financially, or if you have problems with your own finances at the moment, that's fine too. Maybe you can help them set up a GoFundMe account. That's a wonderful way to support someone. Nobody should have to worry about anything but getting well. And I know in my case, the bills started rolling in probably 5 days after my first chemo treatment. And the first time I had it like 20 years ago, I didn't have it. I just had to go on a payment plan. I worried. I paced back and forth. It was horrible. This time I was luckier. I had better insurance and I got it paid off faster. So you could also help them, market a GoFundMe account. GoFundMe is great. It really helped me even this time when I was going through treatments, because I didn't have the ability to work. And even then, some people said that I shouldn't be asking for money, which was I think just ridiculous, because if everybody had that attitude, then GoFundMe wouldn't even exist. It exists for a reason. People need help once in a while. And I think some of those comments might have come from people who didn't have the guts to ask when they needed it. And it's not easy. That is not easy to ask for help. So when you ask someone, can I help you financially? Just know that sometimes people's pride gets in the way. And, it's counterproductive, I understand. But some people are afraid to ask for help. So there are other ways that you can help financially that I'll talk about a little later. The biggest thing that you can give that doesn't cost anything is your time. Now, I wouldn't say just show up at somebody's door. That's not a good thing, because we don't always have good days. whether you're on treatment or not. And I don't think that would always be appreciated. And I remember when I was at my sickest, my house just looked like crap. I just couldn't be bothered. And I didn't care. But if somebody had knocked on the door, I might care a little bit. In any case, maybe if you can take them out for a coffee, or if they're home, then you can set up a time you can stop by and let them know, can I bring you a coffee? Can I bring you lunch? Food is always good. Giving your time means a lot to people. And what you give of your time to do depends on where they're at with their cancer, and your relationship with them. I mean, somebody that you're really close to that is an avid reader and right now can't read, offer to read them a book. Maybe you guys could read together. If they like playing games or puzzles, whatever their ability is at the moment, because our abilities do change with cancer. And hopefully that's just temporary. Whatever their hobbies are, maybe that would really cheer them up. Okay, so giving of your time. The other thing would be taking them to the doctors. Not everybody can drive during treatments, and not everybody has somebody to take them anywhere. So you can always say, listen, I would love to spend some time with you. That would give me the opportunity if I could just take you. There's lots of doctor's appointments involved in having cancer, whether there's treatment or not. There's still a lot of having to go out there in the world, which at times really sucks for a cancer patient. So let's talk about tangible gifts. Forget anything extravagant. Forget a beautiful music box unless it's got some significance to them as far as the music. People will find more comfort in the simple stuff, because comfort really is what you should be going for. And maybe when treatment's over and they get to ring the bell, then maybe you could get them a music box. But staying in the moment's important as far as what they need in the moment and what they're really going to appreciate. One thing that they probably will not appreciate is advice. When I talk to another cancer patient and we exchange ideas, they speak from experience. And I really appreciate that conversation. What I don't appreciate quite as much is about giving advice on treatments they should try based on something you heard. Like, you could slip something in, no problem, but don't harp on it. Don't hold on to it. Just, if you really wanted to influence them a little bit, offer something that you heard, that's fine. But it's like, I told you, you need to do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. So speak from experience. That's all I'm saying as far as advice. And if you don't have the experience, ask them more questions. Because I'm not saying that people just want to talk about themselves when they have cancer. Because really, you're bringing something from the outside world that they're not involved as much in at the moment. But don't be afraid to ask, what did the doctor say about that? How many treatments do you have left? How do you feel when you get treatments? Don't be afraid of that conversation. Otherwise, things are awkward. I like more of a reality, when you spend time with someone. And again, you don't have to bring a music box. You don't have to bring anything. Bring a coffee or something. Just ask them what they would like. Meals can be very comforting. As I said, I really did appreciate the meals that I got. It wasn't that many, but what I had was, I really appreciated that. So just thoughts, if you live close by and You're able to cook for them. I would recommend that you find out what dietary restrictions they're on, because things do change when they're on treatments. Doctors will tell them things that they need to stay away from. It just depends on the treatment they're on. So that's something to consider. The other thing that would be considerate is understanding that their tastes have changed. So lasagna may not be their favorite meal anymore, and that's usually temporary too. I just remember I had cravings like crazy, and things that I loved, I didn't love at the moment. So as your body changes, your taste buds are affected, I guess, as well. So consider those. Maybe you want to say, would you like, this casserole or that meal? And let them choose from two options. I think giving food is, I'm Italian, food is love. So remember that. And if you are not close by, you can have something delivered. You can buy things online and have them delivered locally. That has happened for me, and I really appreciated it. And if you are going to bring something to their door, I would also recommend not to give them casserole dishes or anything. Make it disposable. Make them aluminum foil pans or whatever it is, because they shouldn't have that obligation to have to think, I got to clean that. Okay, so give them all disposable stuff that can just go in the trash. Convenience is ultimate. And that's the key right now. Let's go back to what I was talking about as far as gifts and finances. As I said, there's a lot of times when you don't have time to take them to the doctor. There's a lot of times they have to get themselves to the doctor. And like for me, my husband works during the day. So, sometimes you've got an appointment, got to go to chemo, you got to go somewhere, you got to go to doctors. Guess what? Gas gift cards are really the way to go, because they're probably hurting a little bit if they're not working, right? And if they aren't able to drive themselves, how about an Uber gift certificate? Now, I've never looked into that, but surely they must exist. Your whole goal is to just make their life a little easier while they're going through this. Now, if you're really close, like family, real close family, you could even offer to clean their house. Like I said, mine was just a wreck, and I had to pay somebody to come in and do it. And let me tell you something, that was a godsend. It really was. When you've got a less cluttered house or just a clean house, your bathroom's clean, it just changes your mindset, and it can lift you up. And when a cancer patient really needs to be lifted up, that it's like, oh, that's one thing I don't have to worry about. Dinner, that's one thing I don't have to worry about. So consider that. And if, you can offer to clean their house. And if they're too proud about that, you could offer to pay a service to come in and clean their house. So that's a great gift. It's a gift I gave myself, but if somebody else had asked me, yeah, I probably would have said yes, for sure. So here are some things that I really appreciated. Cozy blankets. I got a couple of those this last time, and it was winter, so I really appreciated it. And that's the other thing you have to think about. Is it winter, summer, or are they always cold? Chemo can do those things to you too. And cozy socks, little warm fuzzy socks. I got all kinds of socks. It was like crazy. I was like, you just knew what I needed. But certain chemos will create neuropathy. They make your feet cold. There are tricks to that. That's a different video, but I didn't have that problem so much. I had a little bit of it, but nothing permanent, no permanent damage. But my feet were cold a lot. It was like everybody knew. And how about flowers? That's not extravagant. You can get a really nice bouquet of flowers. And greeting cards. Who doesn't love getting greeting cards? It's just that you're thinking of them. These are things that, if all else fails and you don't have the schedule to do much else, then really consider that. I mean, just reaching out and touching someone, right? The other thing is flowers and greeting cards, maybe chocolates, if they're allowed to have them. But if you cannot be hands-on, and or if they're too sick for you to be hands-on, consider sending flowers. Consider a greeting card. But here's the important thing. Don't stop these things. What happens is people get the news and they're like, oh my gosh, and they're just wrapping their head around this news, right? That somebody they love has cancer. And they do think, what can I do? What can I do? And everybody rallies around and gives them all these things that I'm talking about. And then they get used to them having this disease. And slowly people just sort of scramble again. And I felt that. So even if you don't step up right away and you're only going to do one thing, maybe do it a little bit later. If they're going to go through treatments for 3 months, perhaps, then, or longer, space it out or just be consistent. Because the longer this goes and the sicker people feel, the more they actually need you. So you've got to cheer them on like it's a marathon. Don't let them get around the corner at the last lap and not see anybody. Absolutely be there. Just keep asking them, how you doing? How you doing? Could I get you this? Could I get you that? Snacks. Oh, I'm going to leave this on a snacks note. Don't forget, appetites change and there are restrictions on some treatments. But if you know this person's favorite snack, just say, are you allowed to have these Cheeto whatever things? And it's like, yeah, but I'm not really hungry for them. Maybe get them something new. Maybe get a nice box of a variety pack. Get a few things. Make your own little basket. Because even though you don't have much of an appetite on certain treatments, there are other treatments you have a big appetite on. And it's nice to be able to have someone just reach for something. Now, I agree with you if you're thinking about it's not very healthy. Some of it I would say, so what? So what? You need a little comfort. On the other hand, you have a point, and then we should be thinking about some fresh fruit among that. There are also certain chips like lentil chips or something with less carbs or better carbs. Cheese and fruits. So there's all kinds of combinations you can think of, but that's my thoughts. I feel that you have to know the person, and that's the most important thing. You know what they like, what they dislike, you know their mindset, you know if they're moody, you know how they're dealing with this cancer. Don't be afraid to talk about that, because their diagnosis could change like mine in the middle. Went from hope to terminal. And I know this is another video because we talk about this before. My big deal in this whole thing is wanting to normalize that conversation. And I get it. Not everybody wants to do that. A lot of people are scared. So just keep those things in mind, because we all need each other. At the end of the day, whether it's cancer, whether it is any other illness, an accident perhaps, people want to know that they're not alone. Even the people that say, nope, don't bother me, grumpy old men. I love that movie, by the way. Maybe take that with a little grain of salt. Because underneath it all, We all need love. With that said, I'm going to turn over to another clip and I'll talk to you then. Hi, everybody. I am on my way to run a couple errands. I need to go get a couple of groceries. I call them bonus groceries because they're not the scheduled kind that we do every week. And I should say Chris does. He kind of likes to do that. It's okay with me. I do the bonus ones during the week. Chris decided to host a family dinner because his mother's birthday is coming up. So he made the menu, and I get involved, make sure the house is clean and ready and organized, and make whatever he wants as far as food, but I let him decide that because it's his family. And when it's my family, just the opposite. So, but he would do whatever I wanted or requested. So we work well that way. We work better that way, actually. We don't work well if we're both the lead dog, honestly. But we ask each other opinions and things like that. Just don't give anything unsolicited, I guess. Anyway, it's going to be fun. And the menu is basically, besides the little appetizers, Chris is going to make enchiladas. I'm going to make my arroz con I can't even say it. Grandules. Arroz con grandules. It's a Puerto Rican rice dish with pigeon peas, which I have shared with you before. And I just have to figure out the recipe to make it for 15 people. I don't know how we're going to fit them all in. I mean, Chris has a plan with tables and hopefully that will work out. I mean, I know we're going to have a good time. Logistics are always a little hairy until you're in it and done it, and then you go, it's a little moment. And then in a couple weeks, my brother and his wife will be up, and it'll just be those two. So that will be a little easier to organize. They'll be up for the day. Anyway, speaking of birthdays, and we'll be celebrating mine and my brother's birthday that weekend. And speaking of birthdays, as you might have just guessed, my birthday's coming up. So I have a question for you. Not really sure what to do on my birthday or for my birthday. I could do an overnight somewhere with Chris. Have the day before and the day after off. So we could do that. But I'm not feeling that inspired. I can't tell you why. But hey, if you want to send me a birthday card, you can do that. I miss getting cards. I haven't really gotten any cards since Christmas. That's because I haven't reminded you I do have a P.O. box. So please, that would be a nice thing for my birthday to hear from you all. And my birthday's on the 24th. Just so you know, I'm a Taurus through and through. So, sorry for this bumpy road. Anyway, so I have to pick up a few items, and I just wanted to touch base. I haven't actually recorded the front end of the video yet because just car vlogging is easier, I guess, but I do want to talk to you today about something important. So you've already seen it, I'm sure. So I'm going to close it out. Now, if you're still with me, I want you to drop a party hat, something celebratory or something Mexican down below. And while you're down there, would you please like this video? Pretty please. Like the video, comment. Just Let me know you're still around. And until I talk to you next time, be blessed because you're blessed. Love you all. Bye.